Welcome to our next Supernatural Season 1 episode review video. Before I get into that, though, pretty important, if you are caught up to the point where I am and rewatching or watching Supernatural, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case, you find that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this detailed review any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And full disclosure, this is actually my first time watching the show Supernatural. I've heard many people praise this show over the years, a lot of people, and I finally decided to give it a shot. And I'm in it for the long hauls. There's 15 seasons and 300 plus episodes, so it's going to take me some time to finish it. Probably at least 3 years. Even though I do one video a day, sometimes two, it's going to be a while, possibly up to 5 years. So definitely in this for the long haul. So join me on the journey and let's discuss this hopefully awesome and amazing show in the comments section. But please don't spoil anything. I mean, I don't mind spoilers, but I want to know as little as possible. From what I've read, it seems a little bit like Lucifer, but so far it doesn't to me. But I don't know, that's the closest thing I can come to it. But with all that said, this will be Supernatural Season 1, Episode 3. The title of this episode is called Dead in the Water. And this will be my first time watch review reaction recap after just finishing watching the episode. We start with Sam and Dean, and they decide to investigate the drowning of an 18-year-old Sophie Carlton, as she is the third drowning victim in the last year whose body hasn't been recovered from this lake. They pose as federal wildlife officers and speak to the local sheriff, Jake Devins, who tells them that they have found nothing in the lake despite running a sonar sweep, but the lake will soon drain away because the local dam is leaking. While they are at the sheriff's office, they also meet Jake's daughter, Andrea Barr, and her son, Lucas. When Sam and Dean research the lake further, they learn that not only have 6 other people disappeared in the lake over the last 35 years, but also that Lucas witnessed his father's drowning earlier that year. Sam and Dean decide to talk to Lucas, and they find Andrea and Lucas at the park. Dean tells Lucas that he knows what it's like to see something that most people wouldn't believe, and draws the boy a picture of his family. Lucas remains silent but draws Dean a picture of a house. Andrea is stunned when Lucas gives Dean the drawing, as Lucas has been withdrawn and has not spoken at all since his father's death. That same night, Will Carlton drowns in the kitchen sink when something drags his head below the surface of the water. Sam informs Dean of Will's death, and they conclude that whatever is in the lake knows the lake is being drained and that it is running out of time to get its revenge. They also assume that Sophie and Will's father, Bill, were somehow involved, as the thing in the lake has targeted his children and his godson, Lucas's father. They don't learn anything from Bill when they go speak with him, but Dean notices that the drawing Lucas gave him earlier was of the Carlton's home. The brothers visit Lucas again, and Dean tells him about his own experience of losing his mother. Lucas provides Dean with a second drawing depicting a house next to a white church and a boy wearing a cap with a red bicycle. Sam and Dean find the church and the neighboring house, and they visit the woman who lives there. They discover that her son, Peter Sweeney, vanished 35 years ago with his red bicycle. Now, Dean spots a photo of Peter with Bill Carlton, and the brothers start to think that Bill may have killed Peter, and the thing in the lake was Peter's vengeful spirit. They go back to talk to Bill, but as they arrive, they witness Bill making his way out to the middle of the lake in his boat, and the boat flips over by an unseen force, and Bill vanishes underwater. And then after the incident with Bill, the sheriff, of course, tries to run Sam and Dean out of town because he discovers they are not real federal wildlife officers, but they sneak back because Dean suspects that the hunt is not over. They arrive at Andrea's house just as she is dragged under the water in the bathtub. Thankfully, Lucas opened the door for them, and after Sam pulls her out of the water, she tells him that she heard a voice in the water that said, "Come play with me." Meanwhile, Dean goes through Andrea's photo albums and discovers an old photo of Andrea's dad, Jake, with Peter. Dean assumes that Jake was also involved in Peter's death, and that Peter's spirit is targeting Bill and Jake's loved ones. And then Lucas leads them to a spot near the lake where Sam and Dean dig until they discover Peter's bike. Jake appears and holds the brothers at gunpoint. He reveals that he and Bill buried the bike where they're there after they accidentally drowned Peter and let his body sink in the lake. And then Lucas is actually pulled into the lake by a ghostly hand. Dean and Sam dive in after him, but they have no luck finding him until Jake walks into the water and calls for Peter to take him instead of his grandson. So Jake, while he did shady shit, he tried to make up for it in the end. Peter drags him underwater, and then Dean is able to find Lucas. And then Sam and Dean prepare to leave, with Andrea and Lucas seeing them off. Lucas has begun to talk again. That's good. And Andrea thanks them both for saving Lucas. As a parting gift, Dean teaches Lucas the phrase Zeppelin rules. And I guess I didn't mention there was some sexual chemistry. Like, Dean was trying to hit on Andrea, and she's like, that's a bad pickup line. And then I think in the end, Sam and Andrea had some chemistry, but it apparently won't go anywhere. So that's the end of the episode. I'm going to give this episode an 8.3 out of 10. Thus far, it's been the best episode I've watched out of the 3 episodes of Supernatural. And then, if I have to pick a character of the episode besides Dean and Sam, I'm going to go with Andrea. One could go with Lucas, one could go with Jake too, but Jake was a bad guy that did something good in the end to redeem himself, but I'll give it to Andrea. So you've heard everything that I have to say, now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Supernatural and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please make sure that you Hulk smash the like button, share the video with a friend, put this video on any one of your social media platforms, especially MySpace, because we know everybody goes on MySpace. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are regarding this review of Supernatural. What would you rate this episode, and who, if you had to choose, would be your character of the episode? I mean, aside from Sam and Dean. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel. Help me get over 100K subscribers. Yes, I know, set my goals high. Join the team, show your damn support, and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.